It'll still be very, very wild. Have to be so conservative.
You know what? I reckon what Paul's going to do, he'll use this as an exploratory. If it's dodgy, he'll go into the lane, go back onto wets and start from the lane. But if he thinks he can get away with it, here's our Fuso starting grid. There's the story. Davison and Whincup will share the front row from Winterbottom and Craig Lowndes. Team Vodafone versus Ford Performance Racing, Trading Post and Orcon.
And there's row 3, positions 5 and 6. That's Dumbrell on slick tyres next to James Courtney, Shane Van Gisbergen. Look out for these guys. Both of them like the wet. They like this track. Tony D'Alberto, good qualifier for Wilson Security Team McGrath this weekend alongside Lee Holdsworth. They're inside the top 10. Steve Owen and Rick Kelly, the winner at our last event at Sandown. Jason Bright in position 13. Todd Kelly on the podium at Sandown. There's David Reynolds. Was in the mix yesterday. Alex Davison in his last drive for Irwin Racing. Tim Slade, the young gun, next to Fabian Coulthard, also on the move next year. James Moffat had his ups and downs yesterday. Jason Bargwanna, ditto. Michael Caruso and Russell Ingall, Super Cheap Auto Racing, positions 21 and 22 there. Warren Luff exiting Gulf Western Oil Racing at the end of this race, and Carl Reindler's future for next year are still yet to be inked. He'll be here, no question. 25 and 26, Johnson and Garth Tander. Remember, Tander's still in the mix for third in the championship. And there's the back row, Murphy and Fiore.
Matt, as we've been running through this Fuso start grid, a lot of drivers currently contemplating coming in, so maybe the Dumbrell move is not quite as risky as we thought. Here we are on board with VIP Pet Foods driver Steve Owen, the Paul Morris Motorsport entry. A lot of them are saying that they reckon they might get away with these tyres, so Dumbrell is best positioned.
Neil, just to put a full stop on that, sorry, Carl Reiner is another one that went out on slicks. Now, I can tell you now in pit lane, there's no fewer than 12 teams out with dry tyres ready to put on, with pit crews ready to go. So they're obviously exactly right, waiting on that driver feedback. He knows best, he's on the outlap, so don't be surprised if we see many of them. Yeah, guns are out, I reckon it's on.
And Vodafone, it looks like car 88. I was just trying to look for those tyres then. So it'll be interesting to see what Lowndes and Whincup do, because this is championship stuff based on having different strategies. And look at that road. That's on board with Whincup, and that's actually quite dry there. So it hasn't rained around the back of the circuit as much as we think. Now, just watch this. Davison stays out. Whincup stays out. He stays out. Winterbottom in. Lowndes stays out. Dumbrell obviously on slicks. Van Gisbergen in. D'Alberto in. Holdsworth in. So, oh, here we go. That'll be Todd Kelly and Jason Bright.
Tim Slade, Fabian Coulthard, James Moffat. It's almost the entry list. Jason Bargwanna, Russell Ingall, Warren Luff, Stephen Johnson. Keep ticking them, folks. Tander, Garth Tander, because he's got nothing to lose. So this really throws a strategy play amongst the whole thing.
I wonder whether Triple Eight were contemplating it there until the very last minute. And then Jamie Whincup couldn't have...
Well, I was listening to him on the radio, and they were really, you know, in two minds about it.
And he made his mind up right at the end, but they can't go into different spots, so be very careful about where you pull up on this start line. There's Murphy, you can't make up the ground.
Green flag.
Murphy down in 27th position. There's a whole stack of vacant boxes in front of him. So the final race of the year, the one to decide our champion. Will Davison on pole position. Triple Eights, Jamie Whincup and Craig Lowndes tucked in behind him.
And I think for Whincup, conservatism on these tyres is the answer.
They're waiting for an eternity here to get this thing underway.
Very good.
Finally, they're off.
Great start, Will Davison. Great start.
Lowndes got a great getaway as well. I reckon he's going to pass Whincup, and have a look at Dumbrell down the inside, but he's got cold slick tyres. He's looking for grip. Lowndes is on the painted white line. Whincup's gone back to fourth. I reckon it'll be fifth and a half in the wall. Rick Kelly. Kelly half rotates at one, but he gets away with it.
And look at this. This is the second race. The race out of pit lane. It's unbelievable. Look at them all.
Something's happened in the pit lane, Mark, so something's gone on there as well. I reckon that there's been a real traffic jam on the exit.
So the rest of the field comes out.
Guys, out of pit lane was incredible. You had cars lined up in two lines. James Moffat trying to push his way in front of Shane Van Gisbergen was not going to happen. He was smashed around.
Wow. Extraordinary start. And this is Triple Eight.
But it's only because the radios are out.
Radios are out.
We've got trouble here early in the race between James Moffat and Fabian Coulthard.
It's on the way out of turn
Fabian's
4.
away. And James, I reckon, is going to be stuck there, and that will trigger a safety car. Here comes Tander.
Moffat's in the wall very hard down there.
Oh, they're trying to pull these things up in wet conditions.
It's gone! Oh, good save. James Courtney, great pass. That was sideways.
So Davison leads the race. Craig Lowndes is second. Third is now James Courtney. Then it's Paul Dumbrell, and there's Jamie Whincup doing his utmost to stay out of trouble as it goes on around him.
So there must be some radio contact drama because there was a definite call for Whincup to come in and he chose not to. So it'll be interesting to see if there's communication issues between the Vodafone cars and the pit area.
What they're saying to Dumbrell at the moment is just be patient. James Small is saying bring temperature up quietly, run your own race and let it come to you provided the conditions don't change. There he is in the Botlow car. Now clearly they didn't deploy the safety car, so they must have been able to get James out of the way or get the car going again. Here he is, that's the answer to the question. So some damage clearly on the front left-hand corner of the car, but James Moffat was able to move the Jim Beam Ford Falcon away, and so we've kept the racetrack green.
Oh, it's all happening down here in the garage at Team Vodafone. They had both tyres out to bring Whincup and Lowndes in. Then they put Whincups away, and now they are putting Lowndes away. They're going to stay on the wets.
Well, the fortunate part, Barretts, is that the wet weather tyre is actually quite a hard compound wet, meaning that it will live for a fair while on a drying track. And this is Lowndes now putting pressure on Will Davison. Will Davison always likes to put the starting pressures right up. He's always competitive in the early laps of a wet race.
I think the other thing that the drivers have the advantage of dealing with here is they've got enough of a view, slow car flags being shown there, the white flag. They've got enough of the view of the horizon and it's darkening out there. So at the moment you could jump on the slicks and find you've got to jump off them again quickly. Pressure on Will Davison here. Trouble also back there at turn 10 as James Moffat's actually gone into the wall. He's nosed it into the wall in the background. There he is again. That front air dam, that splitter will have gone under the front tyre. He hasn't been able to stop and turn the car.
2 full laps done. Davison leads. Lowndes is second. A little bit further back, James Courtney and Jamie Whincup.
Now, interestingly, Dumbrell is about 1.5 seconds slower than these guys at the moment. So that's the reason why some crews were keener to just get a bit of a trend feeling on how this was going to play. Let's have a look at the start once again from the chopper. Will Davison is on the right, Jamie's on the left. It was a tardy start for Whincup, but a rocket start for Lowndes, and also a very good start for Paul Dumbrell, who goes straight down to the dry line. Lowndes had to pull it up on the white line, and you can see actually locks up for a moment.
Pretty bold turn in.
And it was Jonathan Webb who made contact with Rick Kelly down at turn 1.
Have a look at this for a bold turn in. He gets away. That's Whincup on the right who gets a dog start down the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, you won't see it from the camera, but Whincup is on the right and Dumbrell is on the left. And then bang. This is the great turning that Lowndes did. He turned straight across in front of Dumbrell and made it through. This is the second start of the race, and this is the bumping duel. Look at that, between Tim Slade and James Moffat. And then they're all down the inside. I've never seen so many cars start. Have a look at this. This is the most amount of cars I've ever seen start from pit lane. They're all running into each other. That was Tim Slade. They didn't need to do that, actually. He damaged cars with 250k to go.
And check out Junior Stevie Johnson's car. I'm not going anywhere near that. I'll just wait till they all go through, and then...
And they're still on, still on.
This is what happened between Coulthard and Moffat.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all that stuff's just dodgem car stuff and rain on the screen. I heard Lowndes say it on the radio in the background, but that was unnecessary, all that nonsense. So those that have gone and held their cards and stayed on the correction on the wets are in good shape to deal with this. But Paul Dumbrell, that gamble, he's in 4th at the moment, might go sour on him.
Well, we said that was going to be a hero move. It actually is a very smart move if it doesn't rain. The thing that's a danger now is how heavy the rain is. And Dumbrell's got the wiper on, as you can see. There's Greg Murphy down the inside of Whincup. And a good pass by Greg Murphy. Very good pass.
And let's remember, Greg Murphy started from 27th position. He had the benefit of having about 15 or 20 spots in front of him that were empty.
It was really 10.
Well, the other thing that happened, boys, was that those that reacted quickly and did a race-like pit stop and fired their car down the lane, for those that actually chose to stop, they got big gains out of that. That was like, for some people, been like jumping 10 spots on the grid. Exactly. Because you were the first in the queue when Tomo released them at the end of the lane.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There was a big gain for some of those people. Oh, bit of drama there at turn 9. Listen to them all trying to
Someone
stop.
spun because I can hear him flick spinning the car. Someone spun down there.
Yeah, well, that's the blue. That's the mark.
That's right.
That's
Smoke
the
signals are evident down there at the moment.
Steve Owen, we think. Steve Owen caught wide around the outside, now on the inside. Now gets a little bump, and that's Caruso who forces him wide for the last corner. And it is on.
Now, Dave Stewart is having a deep conversation with Shane Van Gisbergen at the moment. Now, he's saying it's your call if you want wet, so I assume that he...
Yeah, but what he said, it was Van Gisbergen talking about that. If Winterbottom goes in, that's the guy he's racing. If Winterbottom goes in, I'm going in.
Yeah, but he said, do you want wet? So I assume he must be on slicks.
Yes. Yeah, so when they come in, when he come in, he puts slicks on.
Right.
Yeah.
James Moffat, you won't see again in the race. They've just brought him in. He's broken the front cross member where the front lower arm bolts to it. Very difficult repair to do during a race.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on that one, Larko. We saw the impact at the start, getting out of the pit lane, and then a very big impact at the exit of turn 3 into the turn 4 wall, and that's raining hard. That's Dawn Fraser Avenue back towards ANZ Stadium on your left. That's the Novotel on the right, and this is this roller coaster. And man, you do not want to be on a slick tyre now. And that's Courtney down the inside of Dumbrell, and that's the slick tyres. Exactly. Spin around. Well done. Very good spin. Very well done. And someone else in the fence just behind. Did you see who was that?
I think that was Courtney. I think it was Courtney because look at, yes, it is. It's the margin back to the next car was huge, so neither of them could stop at turn 9 then.
So big decisions to be made here strategy-wise. These two guys in the box seat, they're on wet tyres. They stayed on wets cleverly. Now as it rains, they are in the best position. But the guys that come into the pit lane and put slicks on now have to do what Neil Crompton referred to, make a decision whether you stay on the slicks and whether you can live through these really treacherous conditions for the next 6 or 7 laps.
It's hard to get a read on this race. No rhythm in the first 10 laps. Half the field started from pit lane, some stayed out there on wets, and they're the beneficiaries. So there you go. That was James Courtney.
So James just nosed it in, but Dumbrell actually had to do a flick spin down there, which Mark called. So it was an easy in and bounce out for James. And this is the battle for the lead at the moment at turn 6. And just have to give those greasy curbs a lot of respect in these conditions down there at the moment. Hit them wrong, pick the throttle up too early, you rotate the car faster than you can blink.
And what you do with them, you can use them on the entry pretty easily, and sometimes by bouncing them on the 2 wheels, you get more lateral grip, more grip on the loaded wheels. But you can't hit them on the exits. If you touch a painted line, oh, Lowndes, big slide on the painted line. He was sideways before he got to the corner, and you cannot believe the level of commitment. Please bear with me when I say there is no room for error here at all. That's Craig Lowndes' heart rate, 170, and that shows you the level of effort and the adrenaline that's pumping at the moment based on this championship being on the line in these incredibly unforgiving conditions around Sydney Olympic Park. So Jeremy Moore
giving us a weather forecast, sprinkling around for the next half hour was his advice to Craig Lowndes, so stick with it.
You can see up the back here, there's Adrian Burgess, team manager, talking to team principal Roland Danes. I'm going to go to the team principal in this instance. Hey, Roland, sorry to interrupt, mate. It looked to me like you were about to drag both you guys in and do what everyone else did. You didn't. Was that a communication issue, or did you and young Crouchy here see something on the weather radar that no one else did?
It was a very 50-50 call, because in a normal situation, normal race, we would have done one with one and one with the other. You know, we would have come in with one car, but because they're competing against each other, then they're not really interested in what everyone else is. So they both did the same thing. And at the moment, with a little bit more rain was in the area. It's now over the track now, so it's probably the right call, but it was very, very marginal.
Well, it's looking like a genius at the moment, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just the way it panned out, didn't it? If it was any other day, any other race, they probably would have gone in another direction, but both of them out there, both of them on wets, both of them going for the championship. This is game on. Will Davison from pole position continues to lead the way in a wet race at Sydney Olympic Park.
Mate. Martin Car on the day. Great job. Making it last.
Well, what a tough way to finish the season. Just when you've got one eye on the off-season, you've got to get faced with the most treacherous circuit in the wet to wrap it up. Will Davison, our race leader. Craig Lowndes is second. Look at all these cars in the mix here. Headlights on, wipers on. All firing down to turns 2, 3 and 4.
And this is for position 13, 14, 15 at the moment. Battle with both the brothers Kelly, Todd and Rick in the Jack Daniels car. And also making a forward move there is Garth Tander. See above there from the chopper. And Paul Dumbrell, who's been off the road twice now at turn 9, also mixed into this. So many people doing things differently at the moment. Some on slicks, some on wets. Every one of them on the radio talking about what may or may not be coming weather-wise. It's right. I mean, it's on the cusp. Neither of them are an ideal tyre choice at the moment. That's the problem.
And Van Gisbergen just said a second ago, just starting to get better now. That's Dumbrell down the same escape. Oh,
that's number 3.
That was close.
That's third time, I think, it's turn 9 again.
Same spot, exactly.
Yeah.
So
he's well rehearsed down there.
But he's 14th. He's still on the slick tyres. And there's a really big battle here with Todd Kelly. And he's having a real stoush with Lee Holdsworth. Holdsworth has got by now, and that's done. We're on board. We're on board with Paul Dumbrell. Now have a listen to this, because this is wild. Have a listen for the throttle position and the engine rev flare as they attack the slippery streets of Sydney Olympic Park.
go. Some contact ahead of them. Shane van Gisbergen and Courtney. We were on board with Paul Dumbrell. And this has got ugliness written all over it unless they sort it out down to turn 1. Single file, thankfully. Otherwise, it would have been really messy. That view that we had from that lap with PD gave us a couple of interesting things. There's plenty of dry lines still out there, but when it's wet, and where it's wet, you can tell it's really wet and and very slippery, therefore.
Yeah, and how's the wheel spin when Paul had to go back to first gear between turns 9 and 10? He had to short shift it out of first gear to second, which means he grabs the gear here. He doesn't use all the available power or throttle percentage for the engine, and trying not to make too much wheel spin. And then all the time, that was a really good graphic view of what he was dealing with just in front and just behind.
What about the engine note when he braked here? You know, he's been down the escape road twice. No wonder he's down the escape road. He had to hit it with second gear so hard to stop it, didn't he? It was unbelievable. There's more engine braking than real braking.
Now we just saw, see him again, Jamie Whincup with Jonathan Webb behind him. Now Whincup is in 3rd position. 10 seconds further up the road is his teammate Lowndes, who's 2 seconds behind Will Davison. Jono Webb comes in.
So Mark Dutton just said to Jamie Whincup that he thinks Webby might have been on slicks, but he obviously wasn't. He's about, I would say, about to get off his wets.
And this will be the drama that we saw from the cockpit of Dumbrell. So this is Van Gisbergen on Courtney.
Yeah, that was the one that we witnessed from on board with Paul Dumbrell, and we all held our breath because I thought Courtney was going to the fence.
And a pretty cheeky manoeuvre from Van Gisbergen then, because when you dive up there, you give the other guy no road. What you said is exactly right. In normal circumstances, Courtney would be in the fence. So Michael Caruso in the pit.
And they're bringing Courtney in this lap as well. So I think
Vodafone action.
Vodafone reacting. So I think people that have been stringing their wets along have had enough and they've hurt them. The problem is, in these conditions, these light showers, they're intermittent. They'll come and go. And you know, some people look like geniuses and not know why, and some people look like dunces and not know why.
And you see that gap? That was the full length of Dawn Fraser Avenue that Will Davison and Craig Lowndes were in front of Jamie Whincup. That's the track gap of effectively 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But you just don't know, because you don't know whether these two guys have made the cars more like a wet car, and when they all come in for dry tyres at some point, both of them in.
And so Lowndes either reacting, but we did see them laying up and preparing down at the Vodafone garage. So both in. This will reveal Jamie Whincup to the lead of the race. No, they're double stacking, we understand, at Vodafone.
But it won't hurt them too much, because 10-second gap almost makes it right.
The gap was there anyway.
So this won't hurt Whincup as much as some of the double stacking that's affected Lowndes through the year.
So that was Lowndes that just went by.
Whincup's in pit lane. He's heading down towards this spot, and he won't have to wait too long. Ooh.
Gee, that was close.
There goes the effective race leader.
He hardly had to stop, so he basically kept the car rolling. It did cost him a little bit of time,
now,
maybe 2 seconds.
This next phase, when they put these stone-cold slick tyres on, drivers have got to be mega careful. There's nothing like the security for the first couple of laps that you had prior. In terms of tyre grip.
Exactly, and it's so easy to make a mistake, Neil, isn't it? Because you get these train tracks, the two dry tyre lines on a cold slick. As soon as you get it, you're gone.
So Jamie Whincup's job right now is to stay as close as he can to this man who's doing a typical Craig Lowndes style. Got a real handful.
This is the stuff he's very good at. He's very good at that wild sort of seat-of-the-pants surfing. That was a near miss.
That's
close. Watch this from above.
That's close.
Well, they were both doing their own thing, but there wasn't room for anybody in between, was there?
And really, in terms of pit lane, there's heaps of room there.
Yeah. This is turn 5, Lowndes. Cold, slick tyres, looking for that dry groove and trying to hustle it along while he can. So Lowndes dropped back into position 15 as a result of that stop, but he's the second in the queue, I should say, of those drivers who have stopped.
Yeah, so Tony D'Alberto now has the race lead. Much more to play out here on lap 14 out of 74.
Alright, mate. He's on wet, remember? He's struggling. Mate, really good work, eyes forward. Complete, mate.
Live V8 supercar racing here to finish the season at Sydney Olympic Park, and as it's been from the word go, Craig Lowndes is chasing down Will Davison. They're 14th and 15th on the road. Tony D'Alberto is the race leader, yet to stop.
He's been one of the guys in those Ford Performance Racing built cars that's been having awful troubles this weekend with steering arms on the car, but he's actually had a turn of speed here and there across the weekend, so he's in a good position at the moment. The other guy that's very quick, in fact two of them are quick at the moment, we need to keep an eye on Lee Holdsworth and Shane Van Gisbergen are 5th and 6th.
Now, speaking of steering arms, that is Fabian Coulthard's problem at the moment. He is back in the garage after that collision with James Moffat earlier on.
Fastest lap of the race now, Shane Van Gisbergen, 1:29.6. The SP Tools Ford, he's 6th, and he's he's only 4.3 seconds away from the lead of the motor race. Jeremy Moore, engineer for Craig Lowndes, position 15, second in the queue of the drivers who have stopped.
Adrian Burgess there in the middle, the man who saw it all unfold for Dick Johnson Racing this time last year, so he's seen the championship movie around here before.
Yeah, it certainly has.
I don't think you'll want to see it again like it was last time, but it's going to fall in the lap of one of these guys, Whincup or Lowndes. So there's D'Alberto, now Winterbottom. Pulls up alongside. Turn 9.
Good pass.
Not a lot of room there, but he gets it done.
Good pass considering that the grip down the inside, nothing like what you had available on the outside. Well read, Mark Winterbottom. He really picked the conditions and modulated the brake pedal appropriately there, because I started to hold my breath when you see him come up to that big shiny patch on the inside.
He would have been too.
I reckon he did too. But good job. Nice warm tyres, put them to good use. And that's real sensitivity in his foot, just to be able to coordinate all that. Should point out, and it's a bit unusual in a modern car, but these cars don't have power assistance like the majority of our road cars in terms of the brake system. So all of the feel, the way in which all that is delivered to the brake system in the car comes straight from the driver's foot. Very heavy brake pedals in the car. Fiddle around with the master cylinders to alter the way the brakes behave to your own delight. You can trim those accordingly, and you can alter all the time the percentage of brake front and rear in the car. The drivers have got that as a cockpit controllable device, and they'll be fiddling with them quite a lot at the moment because the fuel's burning down. That changes the balance of the car, and of course these conditions are changing as well.
Absolutely. At the start of the race, they would have had a lot of rear brake on the car in the wet because you don't get as much weight transfer when you're braking in the rain. There's just much less force. And as Neil said, as the fuel goes away and the track dries out, you have to have a brake bias that suits the conditions, so they would have come forward to the front in terms of the brake bias, so more front braking in this phase of the race.
Wincup's just done the fastest lap of the race, 129.3, so the times are getting closer to that dry times that we saw yesterday, and the lap record belongs to Whincup, set yesterday, 128.4, so still a second away.
Very good speed considering the conditions. You know, there's just enough wet stuff here and there offline. You know, you've only got to be a couple of millimetres out of the groove and there'd be very little grip, so I'm actually impressed with the numbers.
So am I. Would you like to be in the middle of that little pack?
No, thanks.
Not impressed with the idea of being in there. It's much safer up here.
Holdsworth, Murphy, Van Gisbergen, Barguana's there. Todd Kelly's there. You reckon it's safer up here?
Sometimes.
Look who you're standing next to. Paul Dumbrell's in that mix as well, so that's down to position 7. And I just saw this, a little clip. Okay, so that's on the first lap. And check that out. Jason Barguana.
Here we go.
And look at
He's
this.
going to run him into the fence.
He's tackling with the team boss.
Yeah, out of the same stable, and Greg's just re-signed with these guys for another 12 months.
Oh, man.
So that was all a bit weird. Started badly at the last corner.
I'm glad he signed the contract earlier in the week.
Yeah, that was very ugly.
Greg Murphy's done a great job in this race. He's gained 24 positions. Some of those what by default, as Matt said before, he started 27th, actually about 10th. But he got right through the field, he got right through, and then he went back because he went down the escape road, but he's back in 3rd position again, so he's obviously had great car speed, and this looks pretty lively. Geez, Todd's, he'll be sick of being aimed at the fence.
He's a magnet.
And Paul Dumbrell has he's fluctuated like the stock market, hasn't he? He's been up and down, he's been right up near the top, he's rotated 3 times, I think, down at turn 9, he's climbed back on, ricocheted off a couple of blokes, and I mean, in the end, in these races, often these long street races like this, you genuinely lose track as a driver, and it's just...
Doing a really good job.
It's just a giant video game. You just keep on going until someone says stop, and if you can pass someone, you do.
That's right. You don't know where the chicken flag comes down. Stop. But you know, Todd Kelly just laughed. He just said, I think Murph's just bent my steering now. My teammate.
At least he can laugh about it. So Todd's in 7th position. In terms of the championship battle, Craig Lowndes is in 15th, but that's an effective 2nd spot. And Jamie Whincup is in 19th and just done another fastest lap time, 128.9. So he's bringing the times down closer to a dry run time.
I think it's more of a dry car, Matt. You know, early in the race, he lost a lot of ground on Lowndes as a wet car. And in the dry conditions, he's obviously going much better. And the championship battle for 3rd, for the first Ford in the field, Mark Winterbottom currently leads. Van Gisbergen is 5th, and Garth Tander, challenging for 3rd position, is 8th.
There's
So they're all there or thereabouts.
information that's just come through from race control. At his next stop, Michael Caruso has to serve a stop penalty of 10 seconds for starting the race from the incorrect position. It's all going on out here at the moment, and Winterbottom is the man at present.
Do anything silly. mate, you okay out there, or are we struggling? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. No overall group. Big track temp as well. Not when everyone else is sticking their arm. Just have a think about it and let me know if you think you need more turns. That's okay, I just got no grip.
There's some pretty juicy battles going on here right throughout the field, and that's Shane van Gisbergen. He's in position 6. They rejoin the front straight for another crack. And look at the car in front of him, just gone by, is Paul Dumbrell. For a moment there, we were sort of getting a little bit tense and a little bit nervous and probably a little bit excited because Dumbrell's still got a score to settle with Shane van Gisbergen. But now he's got Greg Murphy in his sights.
And he's all over him. He's very quick at the moment, Paul. They're getting towards the bottom of this first load of fuel. Remember that Dumbrell took the gamble early to stay on the slick tyres, and he's certainly got pace at the moment. Not very long ago, we saw Greg Murphy in the middle of a heated battle with Todd Kelly from Jack Daniels Racing.
He's covering big time.
So he's pulled away now from Van Gisbergen, Dumbrell, and he's definitely got some pace. He's basically matching the speed that Winterbottom's got at the moment at the front of the race. We'll see these fellas in probably somewhere in the next 5 laps or so. Those that have not yet stopped. Remember that Will Davison is the first in the queue who has. He's down in 14th, being stalked at the moment by Craig Lowndes.
When all of the cars pulled off at the start into pit lane to fit slick tyres, Michael Caruso accidentally went to the wrong grid position. He's been penalised 10 seconds. Gary Rogers, your man hasn't taken it very well.
Oh, he's gibbering away here in Italian non-stop. He demands that we get them to write the numbers in Roman numerals. I mean, where does this end?
What do you do with it, Gary?
You just turn a deaf ear. He drives you crazy. But he can drive.
He can drive. Poor Gary's ear over here is it's just turning red from the radio.
Sorry.
See, it's deafened him.
Well done, Barrett. I actually turned him down not so long ago because he was having a fair old grizzle about it. So it's interesting. His team boss giving him a bagging as well. But
he's had a bad day, hasn't he? Because he shouldn't have got the red flag. And he shouldn't have been out of qualifying. Yeah. And then he's got the second blow now with another stop. We said it before the start, you can't pull up out of your original grid position. Obviously he did. So he had a shocking day, Michael Caruso. He's obviously letting it fly on the radio, and Gary Rogers having a chuckle about it. So that's the way to take it anyway. It's not, some days it's not for sheep stations. He's down in 17th position and having a bit of fun.
Fastest lap of the race. Just been, that bar's been moved again. Jamie Whincup in position 18 at the moment, 28.8.
All 3 of them.
How's that for consistency in these conditions?
That penalty that Michael Caruso will have to serve, and Paul Dumbrell's got around Greg Murphy, that will remove Caruso from in front of Whincup and therefore put Whincup 1 position closer to Craig Lowndes.
It's Jason Bright. This is back in the pack. Bright was just some huge lockup down there in 9. So let me see, Webb 16th. Looking behind him here is Michael Caruso, the man of the moment, in 17th. Bit unhappy about what's going to go on. All they're doing is adding 10 seconds to his stop, and there is Whincup in 18th. That's Murphy in the lane. So he's done on that load of fuel. Stevie Owen is 19th, and then Gulf Western Oils, it's Warren Luff. Last drive for the Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport with him. Then Courtney 22nd. with Kelly 23rd, and then a huge air gap after that. And Jason Bargwana, who's actually down in 26th at the moment. Really gives you an idea of the rise and fall in the road and Dawn Fraser Avenue there. Trying to pull the cars up on that surface change down into turn 9 was a fair old, well, as evidenced.
On cue.
I rest my case, Your Honour.
So there's the effective leader of the race at the moment. That was Mark Winterbottom. There's Lee Holdsworth. Tony D'Alberto done a very good job. There's Paul Dumbrell, and we've seen the peaks and troughs of his performance so far. Shane van Gisbergen, Garth Tander. Healthy battle going on here with Todd Kelly and Tim Slade. In behind is Steve Johnson and Russell Ingall.
And you
that
see,
round's only top 10.
Here we go. Warren Luffer and Alex Davison. Lasts for both those guys this weekend. They're both leaving these respective teams. I was about to make the point that it's the little surface change. It's the join in the road in the braking area at turn 9 that flicks the cars up into rebound or extension in the front that unweights the front wheels. And that's when they're actually hard to stop. Here we go. Holdsworth from P2. He's in the lane. 2 DNFs at this stage. Did not finish results for Fabian Coulthard and James Moffat. They're sitting it out. There's 26 active cars. Stevie Johnson's also in the lane for Jim Beam Racing.
Safety car.
Get ready to go. Pit lane's clear. Still clear. Waiting on fuel. Go. You're on.
Safety car has been activated. Incident somewhere on the circuit.
And that'll be good for these guys. So Whincup able to react very quickly to it, but that will be good for Lee Holdsworth.
Okay, so there's no trouble with any cars, but the tyre bundle here is a problem. So they've been whacked and moved. I reckon we're heading for some sort of record too. 24 laps without a safety car around here.
Still clear, mate. We're good. Okay, brands are done. First gear for me. All good, all good, all good. All clear. Sorry for that.
Very good communication.
And they've got to remain left of that yellow blend line until they get all the way down past that marshalling point.
Like you didn't today. When he drove the car of the future car this morning, he drove straight out to the right, just drove straight across the red line. Race director Tim Sheck and said, Mr. Crompton, could you please stay on the left-hand side of that line?
Only because I was trying to cover you down there. And
How many cars of the future have you built so far?
2. Yeah. Focus on the race here 2. Winterbottom's in from the lead of the race.
How many are still drivable?
And that's a roll centre. Shush. It's a roll centre adjustment on that car.
3 tyres are done. 3 tyres are done.
It's a good thing it's got until 2013 to come in.
They just haven't prepared for them.
So basically everybody that hasn't stopped is taking the opportunity like you'd expect them to do. There's gibbers either side, but there is a motor race going on. D'Alberto's in from second. Van Gisbergen, and remember that Caruso has to serve this +10 on his stop as well. Actually, he overshot then, Lowndes. He did.
Brands are done. First gear for me.
Only slightly.
They're about 3 plays away. Okay, we're all good. No.
Oh, look at this. That was the race leader.
What's the merge?
That was Will Davison getting one in the right-hand rear corner. Look at that.
It's a big whack too.
Let's see what happens out of that.
Oh, it's rubbing on the guard already.
And that was Michael Caruso. So he got him, and he got him well, and that's advantage Craig Lowndes.
Look at the smoke coming out of it. That's hit it quite hard. That was for the effective lead of the race, because remember before that, Will Davison was in front of Craig Lowndes before those stops. So what an interesting motor race. This is championship changing stuff on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park.
That smoke, mate. Yeah, that's the smoke. Please keep you posted if you do get preparing. I don't know, mate. I'm going slow. Can't see any coming out at the moment. Copy that. So just come close to the wall when you come past, and we'll have a good look. Go to low slow, low flow behind safety car, low flow and ultra conservative, please. Okay, mate. 7 on the front if we'll take it, and 8 on the rear. 7, 8. Iguana in front of you in not pole position. Iguana in front of you is lap down. Copy that, mate?
He's not in front of me, Jado. I think he pitted last lap. I've got 34 in front of me.
Okay, yep, sorry, just updated. Nice and slow. Yep, that is pole position. Obviously all those cars are off the sixth start of the race. About one stop we've done 2, but now we're all on the same strategy, so we'll get nice and fast, conservative fuel. I'll keep it safe. Copy, mate?
Yes, Jado. What is the situation? One stop at the end or something?
One more stop is what we're looking at, mate. One more stop. To do that, we'll have
There's so many great vantage points around Sydney Olympic Park. That's pretty handy as well. Get your own hotel room. Get some Novotel service and watch the cars go by.
And the rain come down. I just heard a report from several drivers that it's raining over the back. Here's the reason why we had a problem down at turn 6. Greg Murphy clobbered the tyres and put them out onto the race line down there, which needs to be, they need to be reattached. Here's the replay from the other angle. There was Courtney down the inside and Murphy. Now here's what happened in this pit departure, and I mean that was just dead set clumsy. So Will's departed and Michael's just driven straight in. Here's another angle.
Yeah. Yeah, awkward's not the word, Neil. Look, just spoke to Tim Edwards. They're not going to take any action about it. Obviously, they're not happy about what's happened there, but you notice some smoke coming off the back of the car. That's actually the composite rubbing on the wheel. That'll settle out, and they think Will be fine. Just some update on Michael Caruso, too. Officials have withdrawn his penalty, so the moaning will stop on the radio.
Well done, Brett. So they cut loose again. Winterbottom at the front of the field. Holdsworth behind him, then Dumbrell, D'Alberto, Van Gisbergen. This will be crucial because safety cars breed safety cars, and the track is getting wet again. Down to turn 1. So there goes Lowndes, position 10. You have to go back to 18th to find Whincup. Now that's okay in terms of Whincup's championship hopes, but look at all the traffic he's got around him. There he is.
Well, you wouldn't want to be in either of those spots. You wouldn't want to be 10th nor 18th. You want to be where Mark Winterbottom and Lee Holdsworth are at this point of the race. And it's such a dangerous circuit in terms of the slightest mistake. We can see the little bit of drizzle and the wet edges of the racing line everywhere. And when the guys are battling, you don't have to be very far offline to catch those slippery sections. This is the worst spot. This is the end of Dawn Fraser Avenue. That's the roller coaster we refer to. As you come over that rise, look at the rise and fall there. What a great shot.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Really illustrates exactly the story that you're talking about, in particular how unstable it is under brakes down there. Now, just have a look at Dumbrell here. He looks very quick in this car. He's hustling. 3 of the top 4 cars have been built by Ford Performance Racing here. Look at this freight train run into turn 1. D'Alberto looking down the inside now of Dumbrell. Oh, locked up on the line. Oh, nice.
Oh, nice play from Tony D'Alberto.
Absolutely.
He could see it coming. It was either go down there or get absolutely T-boned by James
Tander. It was Tander, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Tander, and he did it on the white line. He had the left front perched perfectly on top of that glossy white line, and as soon as he put big brake pressure on, the thing locked.
Well done, Tony D'Alberto. That was very clever. It's cost him dearly. He's gone way back in the field from a very competitive position. He was in 6th position and has gone right down. So, way away.
But he's still active.
Yeah, still in the race.
And he wouldn't have been after that, you reckon?
How's that, though? I mean, just to avoid all that drama from being in a competitive position, here comes Dumbrell looking, and box ticked.
Ended up banging that hit right at the end, and he's left himself vulnerable now to Van Gisbergen, who tries to do the crisscross down to 11. Lee moves across and blocks him, and right behind we've seen Todd Kelly, who's been very active in this race so far. Garth Tander right in behind him.
These guys are going to be teammates next year. Lee Holdsworth on the move, remember, but it's game on here. He's covered and covered well against Van Gisbergen. So Winterbottom's lead now 1 second. Paul Dumbrell's hunting him down. Then Holdsworth, then the Kiwi, and Todd Kelly, Garth Tander, Stephen Johnson, Greg Murphy, and Lowndes and Ingle make up the top 10.
So Tander lucky to be in that spot still after that incident down there at turn 1 with D'Alberto on the previous lap. That would normally have had major contact with those two cars. As you see, Lowndes attacking the back of his ex-teammate as Greg Murphy. They raced together a lot. They won Bathurst together in 1996. And they have been protagonists for a long time. Right behind is Russell Ingle. So 3 of the most experienced guys. In fact, if you add Steve Johnson just in front of that pack, 4 of the most experienced guys in the field.
And it's also the last weekend with Paul Morris Motorsport for Russell Ingle, but he stays with Super Cheap Auto. Big slide there for Tim Slade. And Russell's off to Walkinshaw Racing next year, 2012. Another season for Russell, the most experienced guy in the field. The point I was going to make before, but I moved away from it because I wanted to watch what was unfolding here. But how's, D'Alberto making space, avoiding an incident, but the ultimate penalty when you have to go back as far as 24th as a result.
Yes. Look, that was going to be a major collision. Yeah. And he was actually higher up than I said. I thought he was 6th, but he was actually 4th.
Yeah.
So he's lost 20 positions being a nice bloke.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. No.
So he's ended up down in the weeds at turn 8, and it's offline down there. It's terrible. Oh. And that was awkward for Alex Davis in the Irwin car, so he was pointing the wrong direction for the tyre bundle down there at 6. So D'Alberto, I'm assuming, was able to grab reverse and get out of the way. No sign of the safety car at the moment, but when you get wide on the off-camber rise and fall side of that turn 8, it's all dirty and dusty down there. There's no grip at all.
Got to be very careful at turn 8, Neil, don't you?
Something's happened to Lowndes there because he's dropped back a couple of spots.
It's 13th now.
Yeah. So Greg Murphy is further up the road. He's in 8th. Remember, we had Murphy, Lowndes and Ingle all together.
That's right. In fact, Lowndes is putting quite a lot of pressure on Murphy for 8th position.
And now he's
gone back to
13th.
13th. Yeah, so... And as I said, when you're in that battle like that, you only need to make one little mistake. And look how far Whincup has made ground. So he's come from 18th to 8 positions, and this is it. So, so Ingles has escorted him off.
Yeah.
Ingles gone up the inside. They've had a bumping duel, and now there's only 2 positions between the 2 championship contenders, and bang! Down the inside goes Ingle, and there goes Will Davison, there goes Jason Bright, and there goes Jonathan Webb. So, heavy scene there. Yeah, Jeremy Moore looks on, he said, shakes his head, and as you can imagine, as the engineer for Craig Lowndes,
and he
very
just
frustrated.
That piece of paper that he just grabbed was a tyre report from Dunlop. So Jeremy Moore just saying be careful. So he's looking at the wear on the tyres, he's looking at the temperatures of the tyres and the tyre pressures as they've come in.
He didn't say be careful, he said watch out for those cowboys.
No, I was cleaning it up a bit.
As James Courtney comes through pit lane, so isn't that interesting? Now Lowndes and Whincup are paired together, 13th and 14th.
Oh, stall.
Oh, he only just got it.
So that's the little self-correcting.
The crank was rotating at about 3 revs a minute then when he actually
fire back
got
up.
it away. Here's the leader, 1.2 seconds is the margin. Orcon forward, Mark Winterbottom. Bontlow forward, Paul Dumbrell. Lee Holdsworth, who clicks with this place, is third. Then Shane Van Gisbergen. So this is good news for Winterbottom's assault on the final spot in the podium in the championship. He's well positioned coming into this weekend. He's got Shane Van Gisbergen behind him in 4th and Garth Tander in 6th. Oh, here comes Lowndes now back on the charge down the inside of Jonathan Webb at turn 9.
So Whincup for the crisscross. Whincup to get back up the inside of Jonathan Webb. See whether he can get it done. He turned it back inside, not quite close enough. Oh, that's a big off there for D'Alberto. That's on the exit of turn 7. He's had a drama at turn 6. This will be a safety car for sure. So he's gone over turn 6 and gone into the fence hard on the right at turn 7. Let's have a look at this. This is off the curb. Turn, has not turned. Bang! Massive steering arm. Right-hand front suspension failure. And that car will have hit the fence very hard. That little section of road, although it's quite tight, it's about 95 kilometres an hour. And as you can see, look at the damage that's done to the car. That's
cross member. Basically everything forward of the firewall on that car is going to be pretty heavily knocked around.
Well, that's like having a 100k accident on the freeway, Neil, and running straight into a concrete barrier, isn't it? That's as heavy. The guys are just talking. That's Adam DeVore talking. So, are you okay? Look how much it's moved the barrier.
Yeah.
Those barriers are 4 tons.
Fine. I don't feel good.
He just said, I'm okay, but I don't feel good. That would be an absolute bell ringer.
And that, fortunately, is a remote camera head down there for us. For 7, just on the outside of that wall. I mean, the shot was frightening, wasn't it? So no cameraman on the back of it, thankfully. Watch this again. Have a look at this in real time and listen to the thud.
Wow. This is a front suspension failure when the driver is an absolute passenger. You turn, put your foot on the brake, and bang! Wow. I mean, we've had a couple of those, Crompo, and they are hard, aren't they? They just, I mean, when they pull up like that, there's no ability for the forces to be absorbed anywhere but in that big concrete block. Big accident. Interesting race.
Switch 4, please, thank you.
Well, Tony D'Alberto's out of the car now and in good hands in the care of the medical team here at Sydney Olympic Park, and this is the reason why. On approach, close to 100 k's an hour. Nothing he can do but be a passenger as that 1.5-ton V8 supercar goes straight into the concrete barrier.
Great to see him out of the car there, but look, we're seeing a lot of failure over the couple of days here from the cars hitting the curbs. We saw Jamie Whincup break a shock. The number one failure is actually steering arms. Here's one here. This is connects obviously your wheel, if you like, to your steering rack. Most of the steering arms have this little wasted out piece, and it's very intentionally made to bend when they hit something. So if you belt a curb really, really hard, that'll bend, but next time you go to turn into a corner, your steering's not real flash. Now, if you do end up in that scenario and you belt a wall, one of the great savers for drivers is this thing called a hands device. So here's a driver's helmet, typical of what's being used today. And this device, which you can see tethers onto the back of the helmet, just there. Okay, and if I go around the front, the seat belts go over the top of that. So you can see in an impact when you hit something really, really tough, really hard like a concrete wall, it stops the driver's neck from being overly extended, which is a really big issue with drivers being hurt from years gone past. So it's a great innovation, works very well, and certainly would have helped Tony in that instance there.
Yeah, absolutely, Larko. He's a fit young man, turns 26 next week, Tony D'Alberto, but his body would have just been under so much stress when the concrete wall took all that force. So these are your Mother Energy race highlights up to this point. More than half the field started in pit lane as they dived in and the weather changed, and then James Moffat and Tim Slade had a big push and shove wrestle just to get out of pit lane, and then that would continue between Moffat and Coulthard and rule them both out of the race early on. The weather was the deciding factor in the opening laps. Team Vodafone of Lowndes and Whincup and Will Davison, the pole sitter, stayed out there on wets. They did not bother starting on slicks, and it paid dividends straight away. By the time they had to come in for this pit stop, there was about a 10 or 12 second gap between Whincup and Lowndes, so Whincup didn't have to queue too much. And check this out, between Greg Murphy and Todd Kelly, both out of Kelly Racing. Getting a bit of a wiggle on. Paul Dumbrell has been very active this race. His final full-time race for the Bottle Ford in V8 Supercars, and Murph has really been in the thick of it. That dislodged that tyre bundle down there and forced another safety car. And check that out. Our effective race leader gets punted in pit lane by Michael Caruso, who's been in and out of the stewards' books. An update on that in just a moment. Craig Lowndes dropped a few spots, and then this is the one that really hurt. Tony D'Alberto. Let's take a breather, grab a break, come back. They'll be ready to restart as the Sydney Telstra 500 heads towards the halfway mark now.
Okay, safety car, just an update. We've dealt with that damaged car. Circuits now are clear, so just wait for my confirmation, but expecting lights out on this lap. Over.
Safety car will await your confirmation.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, go.
Mate, go to position 1. Expecting lights out on this lap to catch you back in the field, mate.
Safety car received at 80 kilometers an hour. Safety car lights are out, acceleration away from the field. Car 5, maintain speed.
Let's go with fuel now, mate.
180 to the end.
Have to do it again.
Fairly shortly.
Yes, we are.
be ready, mate. Safety car, pit lane, green, green, green. Open lane, red flag, red flag.
We're back to see the restart here with Mark Winterbottom heading the field after the safety car. And we've ticked over an hour's worth of racing, heading towards the halfway mark of the 74 lap distance. And the two championship contenders are still very close. They're midfield. Lowndes is 12th. Whincup is 14th.
It was a bad restart there for Whincup. He was way behind Jonathan Webb at the start. Look at all that ground there. He's made a lot of ground up, but he was about 6 or 7 car lengths away. Courtney will want to quit this because he's done it now to Murphy. He's fired down the inside of Fiore there. He's worked it out that everyone gives up on him. Someone will turn in and fire him across that curb. It'll be the end of his day.
So the Orcon Ford and the Bottle Ford head the list.
Now
Lowndes on the inside of Ingle.
Return serve. That's a make-up.
And cleanly. Although Russell just gives him a little bit of a nudge just to let him know that he's still there. And now he spreads out. Jonathan Webb, who gets the job on Russell, but Russell will have a better look at it this time around because he had to go super deep to get it done.
Webby only just got out of that.
Guys, Michael Caruso doesn't know whether he's coming or going today. Stewards took the way, withdrew his penalty because they thought the flag marshal put him into the wrong spot on the grid. The flag marshal has come back and said, no, I didn't put him there. He went there himself. And now the penalty is reinstated. He has just done his 10 seconds on the end of his pit stop. Get ready for the radio to go.
No, I'm going to detune him off the scanner. I can't stand any more of it.
How's your Italian, Brett? Can you translate for us?
Gary Rogers won't tell him.
Bit of star power there in pit lane. Dan McPherson, was host of Dancing with the Stars, star of Wild Boys. Loves it.
Well, this is Wild Boy stuff now. Wow, this is fast. And that was Steve Owen and Slade at turn 5 with Jamie Whincup, where all the drama unfolded for him yesterday and the year before.
Yeah, that was just bizarre, wasn't it, how it unfolded at turn 5 for him. And a lap after, he pulled off the most ridiculous move on the outside of Dean Fiore. So there's a little bit of niggle going on here that Whincup will want to get out of. He won't want a piece of this at all.
Ingle just doesn't care at this championship at all.
Steve Owen.
He almost fed James Courtney straight into the fence.
So he got him.
Here we go. And then a little bump.
And imagine that when you Whincup, you go, no. Everyone get away from me, and then he'll look across and see, oh no, it's Russell.
28 races constitute this championship, and sometimes there's National Square Up Day before you go on holidays. For all the little things that happen during the year, I'll send you a Christmas present, brother. I'll look forward to seeing you next March.
That's right. Especially when you're leaving the team. He's been sort of linked with Triple Eight.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't care about Triple Eight 1 outs. He's given Lowndes a serve. Yeah. He's pushed Whincup off.
Boys, all jokes aside, Whincup will not want to be amongst that. I mean, we talked about those steering arm bending and braking. I didn't say to you, there was like 6 or 8 of them yesterday. In fact, FPR employed their guys back at the workshop in Melbourne, got the CAD design program out, redesigned some new ones, flew them up here, and they put new ones on their cars for this race. So Whincup won't want to be around banging wheels with anyone around here at the moment.
No doubt, Larko, that's absolutely right. You should have seen how sideways Lowndes was coming out of turn 3 then. He had about half a turn of opposite lock. It was sliding out towards the fence. And he's having a major crack now at Steve Johnson. We're on board with him. This is turn 9.
No problems.
Well done. Good pass. Good pass. So that goes to 9th position. It puts him up a spot in behind Will Davison. They've been battling all day, Will and Craig. So Winterbottom leads from Dumbrell, Holdsworth, Van Gisbergen, and Todd Kelly, Garth Tander, Greg Murphy, Will Davison. And this is the really good run that Lowndes had. Gets right in the slipstream, moves it out nicely. and puts himself up far enough with a nice braking manoeuvre. No chance of Steve Johnson turning in. And that's the sort of authoritative pass that you've got to put on in this period of the championship at a corner like turn 9. Very nicely done.
Well, the best thing that Craig Lowndes can do in terms of the championship is win this race and then see what happens to the man he's fighting it for. If it finished like this right now, Jamie Whincup would win the title by 62 points. There's still a long way to go in terms of laps. There's still some more to play out in pit lane. So the order of appearance will definitely change.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of strategy to unfold, but the bottom line is that everybody effectively now is on the... got the same scenario. They've got to do one more stop for it to all cleanse. It'll alter, depending on where you are in the sequence here, it'll alter the amount of time that you stand still and what tyre life you've got for your last stint. Remember that the two Team Vodafone cars are pretty much in lockstep with each other on that one at the moment, as they have been throughout the race. So what Roland Dane's doing there is giving both of his guys that equal opportunity to do what they need to do on the racetrack. And at the moment, that story reads Craig Lowndes position 9, Jamie Whincup position 13. He just made a spot, actually. He got Russell Ingall, he was 14th. If you go back to Mark Larkham's presentation on the whiteboard and you looked at his race finish average here, it was a 14.4. He's lurking in that spot again. Paul Dumbrell on board here. This is turn 2, 3. You hop over the curbs. You use a bit of it again on the exit of 4. This is where we saw Lowndes big time sideways that Mark made reference to.
Oh, ugly.
Now that also involved Whincup.
Yeah, he got into the back of Johnson there. Just a little tap.
So that's the...
this is what he needs to get out of.
Peak hour traffic incident, you know, when everybody backs up.
Looking at the front of it there, hasn't done too much damage, fortunately. It's a little soft bump, but again, you just don't want to be in it. You just don't want any of that stuff to happen in and around you when you're battling for the championship and only 60 points margin. And now Whincup will have to do a similar thing, as we saw Craig Lowndes do at turn 9. He's not in anywhere near good enough position to do that. Steve Johnson quite rightly braked where he normally braked, turned it in, and Whincup had to do the job. He couldn't quite get there, and now we see the pressure that he can exert onto the back of the Jim Beam Falcon. What he's got to do, and this is a right-hand front suspension failure for Jason Bargwanna, so that's the end of his day. So what he's going to do now is going to get himself in position to get down the inside, either down here, or down into turn 2, or down into turn 9.
But it has to be a calculated move for Whincup. It can't be a risky one, because the flip side here is really bad.
That's right. The consequences are too high. This is risk management. He was half having a look then.
He almost had enough pace to go on with it, but in that spot, the returns diminish big time. So the gap narrows, the race line narrows down to single file there at 2, 3, 4. This is on board the Super Cheap Auto Commodore. Russell Ingall back to 4th gear through the left-hander. Bargwanna's safely made it back to the pit lane, by the way. Drivers were being warned about debris. Did you hear the thud go through the car then? Now, expecting to see Lowndes and Whincup in, they stopped respectively on 25 and 24, Lowndes and Whincup. So we'll see them in around 50-51 if they run all the way through to the bottom of this fuel.
Now this time down at, yep, he gets it.
That was maximum braking threshold there, and that was a very good pass. He come from a long way back, and you could see the body language of the car. It slithered over the rise, it had the rear wheels locked, and he made it turn in. Very, very good driving, Jamie Whincup.
So just going back to that stop point, they don't have to really go that far. They'll just look to get in a window there. They'll be looking at a point, the get-home point that Mark Larkham makes reference to sometimes in his strategy play on the whiteboard. There's a moment where you can get these cars fueled and home. And that's not very far away from now, about 8 laps from now.
Down the back part of this circuit, round through what we call the bus stop. There they go. So on lap 43, so 32 laps to complete. Winterbottom leads by 1 second over Paul Dumbrell. Lee Holdsworth currently third. He won the corresponding race here last year. In fact, we've never had a repeat winner on this circuit. We've had repeat pole sitters. Lee Holdsworth did 3 straight and Will Davison did both this weekend, but nobody's won 2 races around here. The reason why? It's such a difficult, dangerous place. Whincup gets another spot past Jonathan Webb.
Mate, excellent driving. We need to be as close to the rookie as we can before the stop. Probably only about 6 laps.
The deciding race of 2011. Lee Holdsworth in third. Mark Winterbottom leads the race. And we're at a pretty fascinating stage. It's sort of steady as she goes. They're spreading out around the track. But you just know, you just get that feeling the world's going to change pretty soon.
Holdsworth was left of the curbing then at turn 4. He just fired straight through there. It just doesn't take much of a little miscue or a mistake for things to get weird. He's doing a very good job there in third at the moment. Winterbottom, Dumbrell, Holdsworth, Van Gisbergen, Todd Kelly. They've told Garth Tander he can use more fuel. Alistair McVeigh, his engineer, so he's stalking the Jack Daniels car there at the moment. The lights are on. He has a look down at turn 9. Thinks better of it. And he's gone to full rich in order to be able to attack that black car in front. That's Van Gisbergen in the foreground, the SP Tools car. Remember that Tander's trying to buy a ticket to this third spot in the podium in the championship at the moment. Because Winterbottom, while he leads the race, is getting a tighter grip on that. 1 minute 29.0 for Winterbottom, 29.2 Dumbrell, 29.3 Holdsworth, 9.7 Van Gisbergen, Kelly 9.9, Tander 9.8.
Lowndes is really tucked up on the rear of Will Davison.
1 race win so far this season for Mark Winterbottom on the streets of the Gold Coast for the Armour All Gold Coast 600, and it was great relief for him, and he's been very strong in the back end of the championship. Real ups and downs early in the year.
Neil, I'd like to just jump. It's real important as we look at both Dumbrell and Mark Winterbottom driving their race cars. We talk about the FPR, that steering rod that I showed you, the steering arm, the spec that they've brought here for Sydney today. Tim Edwards said to me, he said, just Mark was actually fine on the old spec. If you look at the way Mark Winterbottom drives that car, he's got a great feel for a race car. And he said as he approaches, particularly that turn 2-3 heavy curb, he actually just lifts his foot out of the brake and the car just releases that pressure off the front tyre, front suspension, and it rides it really nicely. He doesn't have a drama. A few of the other drivers in the pit lane are having a drama because we are seeing a lot of right front suspension failure.
Yeah, like speaking of dramas and suspension, both Jason Bargwanna and Carl Reindler are in the garage at the moment, both with broken shock absorbers, both being fixed. They'll both get back out on the track shortly.
It's a good point, guys, because a lot of the force that you have when you've got your foot on the brake, so all the front suspension is basically bound up in compression, in full bump, and you have a lot of force when it hits the bump. It exaggerates the load based on that. So if you can clear the brake and just let the front suspension release before you make the bump, it makes a lot of difference to the force that's exerted in the front suspension.
And Scapey, the smart team play would have been to sit down in your debrief last night knowing that lots of teams and lots of drivers had the drama yesterday and go about your race a little differently about how you attack the curbs tomorrow. Just be part of your play.
No doubt, Larko, that's exactly right. A lot of the engineering and a lot of the communication between the teams are based on making decisions about how much curb you use. We saw over 20 cars get through the race yesterday with no drama. That's why they were clever. Have a look at the two-wheel action from Dumbrell. That was so close to going in the fence on the right. And Tander looking very racy behind Todd Kelly. There's a bit to play out here.
Yeah,
ex-teammates.
Climbing all over the back of car 7, and there's a few others in this mix as well. Greg Murphy, Will Davis and Craig Lowndes.
And what Lowndes doesn't need, he doesn't need a crash in front of him. If you have a crash in front, you can be part of this accident. That's why Craig will pull back off it by 2 or 3 car lengths and say, boys, no,
Todd's gone. Todd's gone. Now this will trigger more nonsense because it'll bottle them all up. Watch for Murphy down the inside. He gets the run out of turn 10. It's Todd Kelly, Garth Tander, Greg Murphy looking down the inside. Will covers Craig.
Oh, God!
Return of Sir, both in the wall.
Oh. Lowndes got hit there with Will Davison. Craig Lowndes would be saying, you blokes are crazy.
So Todd's got big damage out of that, I suspect. Tander's got a broken rear wing, I reckon. There's certainly a lot of damage on the back of it. I don't know that he's going to be able to... No, look, he's going to get the thing out of there.
Yeah, it's not too flash.
Mate, carry on. That car did not cause a safety. Keep going, mate. Car right there.
So...
I just need to see the back of it again because I got the impression that the rear wing is on the tilt.
Well, all the boot there and the rear bumpers all caved in. And as I said, as they drove up that short straight there, Craig Lowndes would have been saying, oh my God, how do I get out of this? You need to press the eject button and put me somewhere else.
It's they're going to bring Garth in this lap. Here it is again in replay. So this is
where it starts.
Where it starts. Todd, and I said as soon as I saw him run wide, it creates a bottleneck, and it means everyone gets excited about the prospect of a pass. So Garth has a big go down the inside, and he loses the rear end.
Oh, look at that! And then this is a bang. There's a little touch there, a little similar to how the Van Gisbergen, I think it was Holdsworth issue was Caruso. Sorry, Caruso we showed you yesterday. So look at this. This is again. Synchronised spinning with Tander and Kelly.
So in fairness, I don't think Garth actually triggered it, but Garth got involved as a secondary part of it. So Todd went in there with it all crossed up.
So a lot of damage on the back of the Toll HRT Commodore of Garth Tander. A lot of damage to the left-hand side of Todd Kelly's. A little bit of damage to the right-hand rear of Will Davison. A little bit of damage to the left-hand front of Craig Lowndes.
If you add it all together, it's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage. It's one damaged car. And remember that the right-hand rear of Will Davison's car was already damaged after being punted by Michael Caruso.
It was.
So maybe that's a good thing for Craig Lowndes. He didn't get hit by a full car.
Yes, look at that.
Safety car. The safety car, guys, is being deployed. V8 supercar looking at the bottom of this car. This will be, oh dear, look at this, bits of exhaust. Now this is going to make a fascinating fuel race from here.
Well, and you can't leave that stuff on the track, Crompo. That's seriously, the whole exhaust system's been pulled off the car.
Well, that's off Garth's car. Remember we saw the sparks, there you go.
There's the exhaust system right off the car, and you've got to clear that up. So the officials have done the right thing there for sure.
Now, Vodafone are going to have to queue in this situation. So all that climbing up through the field that Whincup was doing actually hurts him now when he gets closer to the back of Craig Lowndes. This adds a bit of spice.
So fuel consumption race number 1. what they do with these cars. You always get preferential treatment if you're in front. The car that's in front is Craig Lowndes. He will be the first in the Vodafone pit, and right behind him will be Whincup. He's only 2 positions behind.
And there's 26 laps to go in this race, and we reckon that fuel windows here, when the car's full and you're running lean, is 26 laps. So they're going to, apart from having to deal with the weather and the wacky races scene that's going on out there all the time, you're going to have to get to the end of this on a thimbleful of sucrogen bioethanol. Look
There
at
they
this.
are. There they are. Their line astern. Whincup will be affected by this. This will be extraordinary levels of activity.
Little roll centre adjustment there for Winterbottom's car. Trying to tidy up the behaviour. Now Will has to queue. Oh, look at this. In fact, the whole lane's blocked now.
So that, in essence, still holds Whincup up. He won't have to queue for as long, but he's still been held up because he had to park earlier on. So you've got to make sure you get all the fuel in, because this is a fuel consumption race now. You've got to get maximum fuel in the car.
Well, Whincup stopped in the fast lane. I'm not sure that you're actually allowed to stop in the fast lane, but he probably had no choice.
No choice. He couldn't go anywhere because Will Davison was parked.
This is going to bury him in the field. He's going to be way, way down the field. This is a massive moment in this championship.
Look at him. Look at him. Look at his eyes.
He's looking at the fuel. He's watching him. He's watching the fuel rig.
Go. Well done. Very good getaway, Jamie Whincup.
Down with damage, cold tyres. All good, mate. Front straight clear. Cold tyres, cold tyres, cold tyres. Position 4.
So they're talking about his mixture position there. This is a problem here for Tim Slade. Now Whincup's dropped back in the field at 18th, and Lowndes is 8th.
10 positions.
Cool. Well, David Reynolds is
You almost had a spin warming him up.
just about rotated that Stratco car, trying to put warmth in the tyre. You'd have some warmth in it if it actually did rotate. Goodness me, David.
So you can do crazy stuff around here. You just add it to the craziness list that's ever growing at Sydney Olympic Park. So Lowndes gets out ahead of Will Davison. Mark Winterbottom is the race leader, and Whincup comes out 10 spots behind Craig Lowndes.
And this is the opposite to what was happening in the early part of the championship, where it was Lowndes that was always being hurt by the queuing process. Track position's been the key here for Craig Lowndes. Lowndes very close to the back of Greg Murphy then. Out goes Stephen Johnson.
And in terms of the championship, what that's done now is reduce the gap a little bit more. Jamie Whincup only has a 44-point lead right now, with 25 laps to go. It's going to be hold your breath stuff at the end of this race. So this is on the way in. Now Lowndes gets there, and by the time Jamie Whincup gets there, Will Davison's in his way.
He's stopped in the fast lane, but arguably he had nowhere to go. But
he could have gone up behind his own car.
Around. Yeah, well,
he could have kept driving and gone to that position there.
Yeah, he could have. Yep.
In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing that again, but I reckon that he actually had the choice of going further down the lane.
And he's balked Steve Johnson as a consequence. So yeah, there are big ramifications in terms of the final order as that rolls out like that.
So just look at this again. Now watch, focus on Whincup. I mean, he could have gone past Will, kept on following Craig and gone down into his spot. He could.
Yep.
In fact, it would have impacted the way that both Will and Paul came out of their pit.
I'll just see if I can clamber up in here, guys, and have a quick chat to Adrian. That double stacking, mate, we hate seeing it. We've saw it again. A little bit of a hold up the lane. It's probably not the outcome you're looking for.
No, what can we do? You got to take it. We can get home from here on fuel. It's one of those unfortunate situations we find ourselves in all the time when we've got two competitive cars, but we've got to work with it. We're still in race. They've both got it all to go for.
And believe me, I spoke to Adrian before the race, and you did say to me, mate, you have got the hardest job in here because you've got to try and balance it across both drivers, thinking they're both getting a fair crack at it. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is, but we do it, and we love it. They're good guys, we're a good team. We'll give them both a fair crack, and their best guy will do it.
All right, mate. Thanks, Adrian.
I just wonder, Crompo, whether Jamie Whincup couldn't go any further right in pit lane. There's big concrete blocks where the marshals and officials stand. So, I don't know. It was a tight one.
Have a look at this. He's having a snack.
Hey.
He's got one of those goos, those energy goos. Look, what? That's what he had.
Don't let it, mate.
Look, there he is. Oh, there's a fine for that.
Wasn't that incredible to see his eyes in pit lane? He doesn't give too much away with his eyes, but you could see him looking across. Hurry up, get me out of
watching
here.
the refuelers, so he can see when the fuel comes back up the vent line there as well. So it's an important visual cue for the driver.
Yeah, and Matty, further to what you just said, I think strategically it was actually quite clever from Whincup. I was standing right here. If he pushed, he probably could have just squeezed through there, but you sort of go into a default position as a driver. If I can slow up here, A, you're clearing the way into your own pit lane, but you're sort of holding up your competition legitimately, or what might appear legitimately. So it was quite a clever little play.
Well, that's always the thing, Larko, that you have a maximum speed limit in the fast lane of 40 kilometres an hour. But when you're going down there, you don't have to do the 40 because it's a speed limit. So sometimes the guy behind pushes you along if you choose to do 30 or whatever it is. And in terms of parking position, clearly when the level of congestion is like it is hard to know what to do. And I actually agree with Neil in the end. When you see the vision, it's probably much harder when you're in the car, but when you see the vision from our angle, you could actually go up further and park further in race direction to have less drama. Here's Tander back in the pits. All the guys from HRT are talking to V8 Supercar officials. That was Frank Adamson about the damage on the back of the car. These tape blocks are pre-done, so you actually have those on standby. And the guys have done a very good job there to have those ready, and will cover the back of the car so that no further bodywork can come off the back of the Toll HRT car. There's another one being installed on the back left-hand rear corner, and another one will go on to secure it further. So used to be called 200 mile an hour tape in the old days, that was. I don't know how many miles an hour it does anymore, Matt.
Yeah, just talking to Frank Adamson from V8 Supercars. So they weren't happy with the fact that Garth's car had no exhaust system on it. So they are going to bring it in. The Go Jacks are just going on now, and they will bring it in, and they will have to fit a new exhaust system to GT's car.
That'd be a nice job to do when they're hot. That'd be a really nice job to do. Would you like that job, Neil? Would you have your little fingers, your little gloves?
I'd have my little gloves on for that one. Actually, I mean, there's a bit of a risk involved in that. Without all the proper exhaust system there, wherever the heat's blowing from the whatever part of it separated off the back of the header, I mean, depending on how much exhaust pipe is left there, it could be pointing in a pretty ugly spot.
Well, there's not too much left because it was all on the ground, wasn't it? We saw it a little while ago. Well, I tell you what we could do is get Larko to go down and help. Now have a look at this. Championship land, 47 points. 51 laps of 74 completed, and still drama to unfold. We don't know what's going to happen in Weatherland. We're just about to get a restart, and you can see them all doing their very best to get these tyres up to temperature. Fuel consumption will still be an issue. Race speed is the issue now.
I've had a quick skim of the rules. There's gadillions of them, and I can't find anything in there about stopping in the fast lane, so I don't think there's any issue with that. Just looks weird when a car stops out there, but I think what you're saying is right, Mark. Certainly can't exceed 40 kilometres an hour, but don't think anybody's actually said you can't do zero.
I'll just give you the other championship scenario. If Jamie Whincup finishes where he is in 17th, Craig Lowndes needs to finish second or win the race to win the championship. Whew. It's game on.
It certainly is.
Oh, sorry, I was reading legalese when you did that, but I'll talk to you about it offline. But anyway, we're back to racing, and it's a half-second margin across the control line. So that means that Dumbrell was stalking his teammate when they got back on with it. Then he's looking racy. He wants to do a great job in his grand finale as a full-time driver.
Very big gap. Very big gap. There's Lowndes, second in the championship, right up behind Greg Murphy. When we come out of here, we'll have a look. He's up the inside. Gee, this is close. Oh, my God. This is wild stuff. That was so close to being a big accident in turn 5. He was almost down far enough, and Murphy held his ground.
And Murphy was a punching bag yesterday. He had a couple of guys giving him a belt.
It's not over. He's got him. Great pass, Craig Lowndes. You can see how motivated he was by that. It's not over yet.
He was slow on the exit lounge. Now he covers, because if he left that hole, there's no question that Murphy was faster on the exit then.
Now the problem is he's got to stop. Will Davison, don't spear him. Oh, that was so close. If he got through, he was going to hit the back of Craig Lowndes. So Will Davison on the dirty line of the road, great bit of braking, gets Greg Murphy, but if he overruns the corner, he turns the championship contender into the fence. That was so close.
21 laps remaining.
Watch this. You peel off to the left-hand side of the circuit, make the run up.
Good run, but then Craig went in so hot. It's very hard to get through there cleanly at turn 8. He was slow on the exit. Here's the replay in the braking area down at turn 9. Will's locked it up on the white line. He went within millimetres, dead set millimetres of spearing him, and they all managed to somehow stay away from each other.
Have a look at this. This is the bit that it almost started at. This is turn 4. This is turn 5. It's 200 kilometres an hour. Have a look at the room. It's like a Sydney lane.
Yeah, I do not want to be up the inside there. There's just absolutely no space there through 5. And this is where Craig got that run. But then it forced him into 8 very hot. And had he not covered on the exit, then Murphy would have gone straight back down the inside by response. But it was beautiful for Will Davison because he just got a perfect slingshot out of there.
And do you think he can try to win this championship without taking risks? We saw the risk yesterday for Whincup at the same corner. We just saw massive risk for Craig Lowndes at the same corner.
And there's no calculation going on in that helmet at the moment for Craig and for Jamie. These guys know that the thing that they've got to do from here is go flat stick. They've just got to do their thing that they've done all their career, all their racing lives. The Lowndes, there's no calculating, there's no slide rule, or there's no, oh, if I do this, this might happen. He just knows that the closer he gets to the pointy end, the more likely he is to be able to get the job done.
And funnily enough, that's exactly what needs to happen for Lowndes, because with Whincup now in 16th spot, Lowndes has to win this race.
He's up to 7th.
Well and truly game on. 20 laps to go in the 2011 season. The Lowndes versus Whincup Championship battle continues. Mark Winterbottom is trying to chase down his 2nd win of the year. It's hard to know where to look around here. Mark Winterbottom's the race leader by just under a second over Paul Dumbrell. Lee Holdsworth currently provisionally on the podium. Now, championship. 6th is Craig Lowndes and 14th is Jamie Whincup. Dean Fiore out of the West Track entry.
And we saw some very wild action. This is Craig Lowndes down the inside of Jonathan Webb, which was a very good pass. And then we saw Courtney down the inside of Murphy. They have a bumping duel. Rick Kelly goes around the outside. They have a bumping duel. Almost spins Rick Kelly. Down the inside, Russell Ingall goes. He comes onto the straight, and again, the teammates, Kelly and Murphy, almost have a bump. And right behind, 2 cars back, is Jamie Whincup. We thought that Lowndes was involved in a heavy session before. Whincup is behind these 3.
Actually,
we'll have a look. There's Whincup. So he'd be watching this stuff. Actually, that was a good save.
It was a huge save, and you can see from this angle, looks a lot more frightening than from on board the chopper. Also noticed even from the chopper looking down into the braking area too much. Looks like Rick's front brakes were very hot down there. There's a big red glow. Here we go. It's on again from
I'll tell you what,
the replay here. Oh, Stevie Johnson rotates down at 11.
And I reckon James Courtney thinks that the guys will forget this stuff over the holiday break, because there's a bit to square up with the ex-car 1, I would think.
So here we go. Getting down now to the decision in this year's championship, and if you have to leave us, if you're out and about, don't forget you can catch up with all your V8 Supercar results, information and coverage thanks to Big Pond Sport on your Telstra Next G mobile. We are looking at Craig Lowndes. He is currently in position number 5. In behind him is Jason Bright. We haven't said a lot about Jason so far this weekend. They had an oil pressure drama with this car yesterday, the Team BOC entry, but he's got that thing honking along nicely today.
Neil, you know what I reckon the most interesting observation from that chopper shot of that gaggle of cars being into each other, with Jamie back there, I mean, you know Jamie, he's usually very good at managing risk and attacking. At the moment, quite clearly, while Craig is out there taking risk, Jamie is actually avoiding risk. And actually, I don't know if that's his forte. He looks uncomfortable. There was a hole there that he would have dived into any other time, and he didn't.
Well, he's heading towards a critical number, Jamie Whincup, because he's 13th on the list right now. If he finishes this race 12th, it doesn't matter what happens. He will wrap up the championship. So there's one more spot for Jamie Whincup to get, but more than 15 laps still to go. Welcome back. Checkered flag not too far away now, heading towards the last 10 laps and a bit more of the season. And this move, oh, check this out. Oh, Jonathan Webb and Jason Bright turn around.
Turn 11, very ugly. Took a long time for Bright to be able to recover from that.
And therefore, this becomes a critical moment in the championship chase for Jamie Whincup, because he comes up to 12th position, and the 12th spot was the magic number that he had to get to. He has to stay there to make sure of it.
And the reason he did that was that Bright, as you saw then in the replay, straight lined the chicane at 234, so he just got in there too hot. He couldn't pull up. The rear tyres would have been superheated from the... He had to rotate the car out of harm's way at turn 11. Now this is Lowndes on the climb too. That's up to position 4 now for Lowndes. So they're both making progress, but they're counter-punching each other at the moment.
Van Gisbergen let Lowndes go by then. It was a very gentlemanly thing to do. He flicked the blinker on and Lowndes went by. So, very nice thing to do. Neil, would you do that?
It may be Henry Kissinger's visited or something in both pits, and they've got it all sorted now, because that's not been the case between those two at various points during the year. If you recall Phillip Island, for example, there was serious rumbling going on. But yeah, maybe Shane's got a little issue going on there at the moment. I haven't picked up anything on the radio, but he certainly made it very easy for him.
Great shot, isn't it? The train station on the right, and the pavilion just a little bit towards the left, where you see the cars undercover. Really unique way of showcasing these V8 supercars.
You can even see from the chopper, again, because the light's lowering a bit here at the moment, you can see the brakes glowing, even in the places where I wouldn't have thought there was big brake stress.
There's the pit lane complex behind it, the pavilion where you get your show bags at the Easter show. And
watch this.
In December, you come here and check out these great cars under lights. So Lowndes down to turn 1, 4th. Winterbottom's the race leader by just under a second from Paul Dumbrell. So Dumbrell's still got plenty to fight for. Remember, his last full-time V8 supercar race. Winterbottom.
Look at those.
They're hot and stressed at this point in the day. Very little recovery time round here. So the problem is that the big hits keep coming to those front brakes on, time intervals of somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds. Wham, back up to 850, 900 degrees. They get a little breather, a bit of cool air goes into that front air dam area, then wham, they get another smack. And you've got to really manage that late in the race, because the brake performance has gone away. It's one of the reasons why they've got these things we call egg rings on the rear brakes, to try and manage and equalise the difference between front and rear brake temperatures. It's a little art form and science in itself. Again, and it's not just these guys. I mean, it's basically every car in the field. You'll see them really into the brakes at this point. It's been a long, hard day of racing. Board with Paul Dumbrell, position 2. He's been stalking Mark Winterbottom now for a long time.
Lowndes on track to do the fastest lap of the race so far. He's already done, yes, he does, 28.38. So a new lap record for Craig Lowndes on lap 63 of 74. So you're kidding yourself if this doesn't mean too much at the moment. There's the fastest laps, both for Lowndes. He is pressing on hard to catch Holdsworth.
One of the reasons why you're seeing that brake temperature as well. So he's really giving the thing something to think about at the moment. Look, Dumbrell's within 3 car lengths here of leading this race, so he wants to go out with fanfare.
So Winterbottom from Dumbrell, Holdsworth, Lowndes, Van Gisbergen, Will Davison. You can see this. That's your gap. There's Dumbrell. There's Holdsworth. Lowndes pulling up behind. Van Gisbergen in the background. So this is your battle for the first 4. Dumbrell putting pressure on Winterbottom. There's Craig Lowndes. Van Gisbergen behind Will Davison.
So I think the number that I'm focused on here at the moment is not so much positional as gap. So if you look at Lowndes to the lead, it's 4.1 seconds. You're going to keep watching that number. It's now 4 seconds, because it's not impossible that Lowndes could get this done, but it looks like a steep climb. And if he does, look at this. This is Jamie battling here with Greg Murphy. This is 11th and 12th. And now Jamie with a run down the inside on the Pepsi car, and just pulls it up in time at turn 9. Done. One more position for Whincup to 11th. And that's buying an insurance policy for Whincup and this man.
Mark Dutton has been on the ride with Jamie for the last few years. They're a formidable team. And that was a really gutsy one. We always hold our breath down there at turn 9 because we know what's in front of them.
Well, we did because of the comments that Murphy made in the paper yesterday saying that Jamie Whincup was overrated. So when you get to the end of the braking area there, you just never know what might transpire.
That's right, Matt. So 3.9 seconds is that gap, Winterbottom to Lowndes. So he's peeling it out at a rate of tenths at the moment.
And there's effectively 17 seconds between Craig Lowndes and Jamie Whincup. So on track, a big gap. On board now with Paul Dumbrell, battling to make it into this turn 8. Difficult apex to find. And a very weird angle of the road. Big camber off on the exit. And this is this roller coaster braking area that we've seen so much action over the weekend. And Lowndes is catching Holdsworth. He's taken a lot of ground off him. He's the fastest guy of the top 4 in this group. There's James Courtney. Behind there is Russell Ingall. That's 9th. Caruso 10th. And there is the gap to Whincup. That's 17 seconds of real racetrack gap. Back to the lead with Winterbottom from Dumbrell. So come onto the straight. Very easy to make a mistake against that wall on the right-hand side. We've seen about 30 mirrors dragged off the cars over the weekend. And in this heavy braking area in turn 1, the bottom of Australia Avenue.
So Jeremy's just said to Craig, finish on a high, mate. Let's just at least get on the podium. There's an air of resignation in his voice that they're not going to be able to climb any further. They're realists, they know the job, but it's not a huge gap. I mean, we're talking about the definition of the championship for this year, coming all the way down to the dying moments of the Sydney Telstra 500, and there's 3.8 seconds between Lowndes in 4th and a race victory. We're inside the 10-lap mark, and it's only a few hundred metres, wouldn't maybe even not that kind of margin, and that's how close it's gone. It's pretty freaky stuff. Because Whincup is only just scraping in the door here on those numbers, isn't he? When you're 11th.
Exactly. I mean, he drops 2 spots further back. Lowndes wins the race. Lowndes wins the championship. And around here, that stuff can happen.
Well, we're just about to do 3 years of evidence on that one. Yeah. So we've got 2 years and 1 race in evidence, and so far the evidence suggests that anything can happen.
35 points. Unbelievable. Less than 10 laps to go. This is an absolute sprint.
A good solid job this week.
Look at the mirrors, they're all gone.
Mark Winterbottom, yeah. Who needs them? A really good solid job. He qualified well yesterday in 3rd. Transpired, he missed out on a podium spot. Today, things have gone his way as well. So you take that luck when you can get it, but it's just been a very solid, very professional performance. Grew up at Doonside. He visited some family and friends earlier in the week, so this is pretty much a home game for Mark Winterbottom, and he would love nothing more than to get his first race victory around the streets of Sydney Olympic Park.
And it'll be a bit stressful for him having PD stalking him like this at the moment, because though the cars are manufactured and maintained at the same facility, they're run under different race entitlement contracts. Rod Nash Racing is Bodlow Racing, and the Orcon Steel car for Winterbottom's out of the Ford Performance Racing stable. Now, both guys want to win the race. Paul Dumbrell wants to leave on a mega high. Mark Winterbottom wants to make up for the disappointment in the early part of the championship and demonstrate that it could have been. And once they got on top of the soft tyre, that looked like it could have been the case. And so he's really getting pushed along here at the moment. You can see it in the lap times. So one little mistake here from Winterbottom, and Dumbrell's going to pounce. No evidence of either of them making blues at the moment. They've been locked together like this for so long. That gap that I mentioned between Lowndes and the lead, it's actually open fractionally now. It's 4.2 seconds. It got down to 3.8. It's back out a little bit, so it's hovering.
But have a look. The fastest lap 67. Winterbottom, 28.6. 28.64 for Dumbrell, 28.66 for Holdsworth, and on lap 63, the fastest lap, the new lap record for Lowndes at 28.38. This is the sort of thing you don't want to have to go that fast, Neil, to win a race like this, do you? You want to back it off.
Well, I'm sure they'd like to be in a cruise phase now, but they're not. They're on the map. This is qualifying stuff. they're completely maxed out trying to get lap times out of these cars for all the reasons that we've outlined. And for Holdsworth, a departing gift to Fujitsu Racing and Gary Rogers, because he's on the move next year to Irwin Tools and Stone Brothers Racing. There he is in the 33 car, and he admitted to Aaron Noonan earlier in the week about shedding a tear at the departure end of this race weekend. So there's a little bit of emotion in the paddock. There are a lot of relationships that are about to change. And we're on the verge now of seeing this man on screen at the moment bank a third V8 Supercar Championship title.
He's had another stellar year, 10 race wins. This year he overtook Peter Brock on the most race wins list. He's now outright third with 52. He overtook Dick Johnson on the most pole positions list. He's now outright fourth. But the one thing that he's wanted since this season finished last year, not started this year, but finished last year, was that #1 back. He won more races than anyone else in 2010. He saw it crumble before his eyes around this circuit at turn 5 in the wet. He thought he'd done enough to be the champion last year, and he's fought back with real fire in the belly this year. What a roller coaster ride it's been. And so too for these guys, Ford Performance Racing. They had their issues mid-year and they settled down and addressed them pretty frankly too. And so it's turned into a good back end of the season. That trend that you can see on the bottom of the screen, the LNH graphic shows that the trend's bad for Dumbrell in the last couple of laps, just a 10th shy here and there. And this is coming off the last corner here, and that was the right-hand mirror on Frosty's car. And it can't be any further to the right, because then we're talking about panel damage. Campbell Little, Chris O'Toole on the extreme right-hand end, Matt Nilsson in the middle, Grant McPherson, Campbell Little, and Tim Edwards in the background. So all the...
Oh,
Dumbrell, mistake at turn 11.
Oh, that's Lowndes! Oh, was it Lowndes or Holdsworth? That's Holdsworth. My God. I thought it was Craig Lowndes. He flicked it around. He did the go-kart spin. That's Roland Dane. And there's Tim Edwards. Look at them all grab their heads.
Can you believe this?
That was the go-kart spin. He was gone. He went to turn it back around and got Lee Holdsworth on the guy rate.
Paul Dumbrell in his final full-time drive
You see what's coming,
was just 5 laps away from a podium spot. Lee Holdsworth in his final drive for Fujitsu GRM, same amount of laps away from a 3rd spot.
Lowndes second.
Craig Lowndes moves up to 2nd,
which gives him 3,133 points. There's the replay. He was out wide because of Fiore.
And watch this. Watch this. Oh, that's the guy rate. He's done the go-kart spin to turn it back around, and Lee Holdsworth had nowhere to go.
It brings Whincup up to 9th.
Check this out. Bang! And now there's Craig Lowndes. Craig Lowndes has missed that by nothing. Here we go. Goes around, gasses it up, bang! Holdsworth, and there's Lowndes! Can you believe how close that was? It's 29 points in this championship with absolute chaos with 2 corners to go. Oh!
Will
Davison's in the fence. That's turn 8. I can't believe this. This will go safety car for sure.
Now, this is having the effect. Lowndes is second at the moment.
It's on fire.
There's a fire there. There's a fire. That means also that Whincup moves up to 8th.
Very careful, this car's coming everywhere.
It's gone berserk in the closing stages. Winterbottom's the leader.
That's in hard, Neil. That's hit very hard.
Paul Dumbrell stepping out of the car and going to the garage. Game over for the Botlow Racing man.
So with the Pettis safety car out there, let him clean up the mess. We'll take a breather, bring you back for the thrilling finish.
9 on race line, caution through turn 9. Safety car, just stand by.
Safety car on standby.
Safety car, just remain on standby.
Safety car received.
Thank you, safety car, scramble, safety car, scramble. The car we need is car 5, the car we need is car 5, 60 kilometres an hour.
Safety car on track, 60 kilometres an hour, awaiting car 5.
Safety car, the second car coming towards you should be the car you need to pick up, car 5.
Safety car received. Safety car with car 5 behind us.
Okay, safety car, just bring your speed back to 40, gently back to 40.
Safety car at 40 kilometres an hour.
Thank you, safety car. Okay, Alistair, we need a miracle here, Alistair. We need a miracle.
They're trying to get this out in a big hurry. They want to restart the race, but just try to keep things warm, even though you get 40 toes.
Find the safety cars going so slow.
Safety car, you'll see the incident ahead of you. We are clearing the road in front of you.
It's going to have a big go here, but it's going to be on.
Safety car received.
How's my speed?
You're better than him the last 4 or 5 laps. He has been pushed and then backed off, which you've got to keep focused.
Just for the advice of all on channel.
I've said it so many times this weekend. Can you believe it? You do all that hard work, you get all the way to the very end of the season. You've got a podium beckoning. Paul Dumbrell was the first to go. Lee Holdsworth was next to go, and then Will Davison at turn 8, straight in.
That was a silly move.
Yeah, it's a very awkward corner, and if you don't give yourself the maximum amount of space in there, I thought something may have failed, but I think he's just in the wrong line down there. So Dumbrell's devastated by what's happened there as well. He's just sitting down in his garage there at the moment, hasn't spoken to a soul.
The guy that I feel most sorry for, the bloke who's punched above his weight all weekend, is Lee Holdsworth. He was in 3rd spot, going to be on the podium, has done a really good job around this track. We know the effort he puts into it. We know the results so far.
Restart this lap. I didn't think they'd get the track cleared up in time, but they've done a mighty job, and a shout out to all the officials that are part and parcel of our series all year who do a ripper job for us. Thank you.
Oh, it's game on. Crompo, so 2 flying laps to decide the season. Mark Winterbottom ahead of Craig Lowndes. Shane Van Gisbergen is now 3rd. Jonathan Webb, then James Courtney, Russell Ingall, Michael Caruso and Jamie Whincup. All Whincup has to do is hold position. He wins the championship.
And have a look at the gap he's left, Matt. He's left a massive gap behind Caruso so that he's not involved in the drama. Look at that. There's 5 or 6 car lengths so he doesn't get involved in whatever the chaos is in front. On board now with Whincup. He purposely did that. If that was normal race start, we'd say that was a bad restart. That's a clever restart based on what happens with safety cars.
Right on the limit of the rules, though.
Yeah, well, it certainly is. 5 car lengths.
Margin.
Exactly.
Lucky they're not looking too hard. So Winterbottom, 3/4 of a second at the moment over Lowndes. Van Gisbergen has a wobble into turn 8, and a great performance again in Sydney from Jonathan Webb in the Mother Energy car.
He has driven very well all weekend, hasn't he? He's done a really good job. Oh, sideways!
Courtney,
Got to be gone.
Here.
They're mates, they ride together on the Gold Coast. Courtney whacks the wall. There's more chaos.
Look at Winterbottom behind them.
Oh, here we go. There's a bumping duel again with Caruso.
Whincup behind them is just trying to find as much space as he can.
Can you believe this? I reckon it's like being a go-kart Dodgem car session.
There's 3,400 metres of racing to go in the 2011 championship. The leader is Winterbottom. He's got 0.6 of a second over Lowndes. Look at this. It's still going on down through the order. Lowndes, Van Gisbergen, Webb, Ingle, Caruso, Courtney, Whincup, Bright and Slade. That's the top 10. Someone's got a broken header or dropped a cylinder out there as well. One of the cars sounds dreadful. Half a lap to go.
Lowndes basically couldn't have done any more this weekend than what he's done.
I think it's Van Gisbergen, actually.
To have a crack at the title.
Might be the reason why he let Lowndes by early.
Maybe. That's a good point.
Winterbottom's the last man standing at Ford Performance Racing. And he's on track just for his second win of the year. A good way to finish the year. Lowndes won't give up. Nothing to lose from this position. Down to turn 9.
What an unbelievable championship, Matt. Can you believe he can take it to the last race and have the drama unfold that we've seen this weekend?
Now, this has been some weekend, some day, and one amazing year. Team Vodafone have been the benchmark team. Ford Performance Racing will cap it off with a victory for Mark Winterbottom. Second for Craig Lowndes. Van Gisbergen on the podium. And here comes the man who has now joined the greats. Three-time V8 Supercar champion, Jamie Whincup.
What a great performance from Whincup. He was super determined from the completion of last year's race, as you said, to get this job done, and he's done it. He's done it by 35 points in the final analysis. He did a brilliant job qualifying this year. He did a brilliant job racing. 10 race wins for him in 2011. 9 pole positions. But the race victory goes to Mark Winterbottom, and he's got his own special story to tell as he goes off to the break.
17 race wins now, and that'll be an emotional one too for Frosty. This is his home track. The lights are on. Grew up not too far away from here, and there's Craig Lowndes. You take your hat off to this bloke. He delivers time and time again. There's a reason why this man is a genuine superstar of Australian sport. He's clearly one of the greats. He took this title fight to the bloke who has clearly been the benchmark, and he took it all the way down to the final lap of the final day of the final race.
Matty, I'm going to try and weasel my way in amongst here. Roland Dane, gee whiz, mate. I know both of you guys were in the hunt there, but everything was thrown at Jamie there, literally everything. And to me, that's the stuff that champions are made of, even right up to that last restart.
Yeah, you could see at those restarts, he was laying back a little bit to make sure he didn't get involved in other people's stuff.
Clever.
And he was being smart, trying to make sure he finished the race. But Lowndes gave it a red-hot go, new lap record, I think, and you know, gave it everything he had, so you can't take anything away from that either.
I was a bit worried about Jamie because he's good at attacking, he's good at 100%. You know yourself, when you drive cars at 90%, he had to do a bit of that today. That's when you make a blue.
Yeah, well, he's actually got a record not that good at doing that. He likes going flat out all the time, so I'm sure he was really nervous today, but he did exactly what he needed to do, and Lowndes did his absolute best to try and do what he needed to do, so couldn't ask for more.
Anyway, mate, congratulations. You run a team that looks good, goes fast and wins championships, so well done, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
There's a lot of celebration to be done for quite a few people along here. Winterbottom, of course, first race win on this circuit. Lowndes couldn't do any more. Van Gisbergen on the podium. And now, Jamie Whincup, the first man in the modern era to win championships for Ford and Holden, only the second man in Australian Touring Car Championship history to do it.
I tell you what is a fact, though, if you look back through the 3-year history of this location, Sydney Olympic Park and the Sydney Telstra 500 delivers more action, more variety than anything we've seen. What a full stop, what an exclamation mark on this championship.
And the 6th different race winner in 6 races that we've had here.
It's amazing, crazy stuff.
Whincup now goes alongside Peter Brock and Craig Lowndes as a 3-time V8 Supercar champion. And he's waited 12 full months to celebrate this one.
In a minute, he'll work out where he is there, Matt. He's caught up in the smoke.
He's on cloud 9. That's
exactly what he's on. What an amazing achievement this year. We talk his stocks up and we say all the time what an unbelievable effort in 2011 for Jamie Whincup.
Well, Mark Winterbottom just being congratulated by Craig Lowndes. Frosty, cannot wipe that smile off your face. Look, it's been a tough, long year. It's been up and down, but that's a great way to close it off.
Yeah, boy, we come home strong. It's a great effort by the boys. They've really turned this season around, and we were nowhere, and we've fought back the way we have, and big event for us, this one. It's my home door, backyard here, and absolutely wrapped. So big win for Telstra today, and a big win for the team, so I'm wrapped.
Enjoy it, Frosty. I think there's someone just over here who wants to say congratulations. Well done, enjoy that. All right, Craig Lowndes, boy, what a race, guys. You've said it. He is such a champion racer. Lowndesy, what can we say? You are one of the legends of Australian sport. You have given it everything. You went so close.
Yeah, Barrett's, look, that was one of those moments that today was all about sort of not holding back. Had to put all the deck of cards on the table, and we did. We had a hell of a race. Credit to Jamie and obviously his crew. It's he's a true champion this year. He's done everything right. He's qualified well. The cars have been strong. But to all our guys at Team Vodafone, look, what a year.
You made an amazing tussle, Lowndesy. Well done, mate. Enjoy the break.
Cheers. Thanks, Barrett.
And Shane Van Gisbergen, boy, consistently powerful and getting stronger and stronger year after year. Shane, congratulations, 3rd spot, and your year just goes from strength to strength.
Yeah, we were pushing quite hard there. Something bent in the front early, but great job. I have to thank our sponsors, SP Tools, Ford, Citizen, and all our other partners. It's just awesome to get on the podium again, and hopefully it carries the momentum into next year.
Well done, Shane. Jump up there and enjoy that podium.
I will. Thank you.
It'll be a popular podium too, and they've come here in their high-vis shirts, Team Vodafone, just so we couldn't miss them. But you can't miss that man, Jamie Whincup, on a roller coaster ride of a weekend. I mean, the emotions that he would have gone through yesterday are quite hard to fathom. So let's take you all the way back to the race start more than 2 hours ago. Half of them were in pit lane because the rain started coming down. They started to gamble. Do we go out in slicks? Do we go out on wets? Because it's half raining, it's half not. James Moffat and Tim Slade got tangled up on the exit of pit lane. Greg Murphy would feature in these kind of highlights pretty much for the course of the next 74 laps. He was tangling with other guys. He was tangling with the tyre barriers. He was tangling with Todd Kelly. And then look at this. Will Davison gets punted by Michael Caruso. As Michael comes into pit lane, Will trying to get out. And remember, Will was effectively the race leader at that stage. How's that for a moment for Craig Lowndes? And then this one, incoming. Tony D'Alberto, more than 90 kilometres per hour straight into the fence. Nothing he could do. That was the end of his day. Look at this, Whincup trying to stay out of trouble, but making sure that he was still in position. And then Tander and Todd Kelly. Will Davison just got Lowndes there too. So that could have been a whole lot uglier in terms of the championship. Lowndes came back after the safety car period with just all guns blazing. He started firing attacks left, right and centre. Here was a move that would put Jamie Whincup into 12th spot, and that was the critical number for him, because from 12th spot onwards, no matter what else happened, he couldn't lose. And then Dumbrell, Holdsworth, can you believe it? Lowndes misses it by a split hair. Oh! That's how Paul Dumbrell finishes his full-time V8 Supercar career, with his head in his hands. And that's a sad and sorry sight too. And then Will Davison straight into the fence. Unbelievable. A 2-lap dash to finish it off. Is your head spinning? Mine is. Mark Winterbottom gets the 2nd race win of the year in his own backyard. Lowndes 2nd. Shane Van Gisbergen 3rd. Terrific performance from Jonathan Webb, who won here last year and continues to have a strong run. Jamie Whincup does enough. 8th. That wraps up the title. And then mid-pack, Stephen Johnson's had a pretty tough weekend, both physically and out on the track, and then a whole heap of DNFs and sad and sorry tales at the back end. So let's go to the podium with Mark Beretta.
It has been an amazing weekend once again, the Sydney Telstra 500. To get us started on the podium, would you please welcome the Honourable George Souris, New South Wales Minister for Tourism and Major Events.
Thank you, Mark. New South Wales Government is well satisfied with this wonderful conclusion to the 2011 series, a conclusion in epic style, a conclusion where there has been variety, misfortune and fortune. And I congratulate all of the winners today, including the championship. And I hope that today, for each and every one of you here, for the many millions of viewers around the world, that this conclusion to 2011 in Sydney, Australia, is one we'll never forget.
Minister, thank you very much. And now we move on to the podium presentation for race 28, the final race of the year at the Sydney Telstra 500. Would you please congratulate our race 28 winner for Orcon Steel Ford Performance Racing, Mark Winterbottom. In second place for Team Vodafone, Craig Lowndes. And in third place for SP Tools Racing, Shane van Gisbergen. Representing our winning team, Ford Performance Racing, would you please congratulate Matt Nielsen. Making the presentation to third place, Shane Howard, the Acting Chief Executive Officer of V8 Supercars. Presenting to second place, Brett Riley, the Regional Director, New South Wales and ACT for our major sponsor, Telstra. Brett Riley also making the presentation to Matt Nielsen for the winning team. And the Honourable George Souris, the Minister for Major Events and Tourism for New South Wales, presenting to first place, Mark Winterbottom. And that concludes our championship for 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please congratulate our series champion for V8 Supercars for Team Vodafone, Jamie Whincup. Telstra to make the presentation. Jamie, come on over and join us for a few words. It's been an amazing year and deserves a few words. Congratulations, boy. You have fought off all challenges this year. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. Like always, thank you everyone for coming out. It was tough conditions again today, and you stood through the rain, hail and shine, so thank you. And to our guys, just like to thank all our sponsors. They've done a phenomenal job. To everyone in the crew, did an awesome effort, and we got our number back. Thanks very much.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, the 2011 Sydney Telstra 500 Race 28 winners and our V8 Supercar champion for 2011.
That's what he came here to get, and that's what he will take home. The championship trophy and the #1 on the door. A 365-day wait comes to an end for Jamie Whincup. He's done it in style this season, 10 race wins. He's been the man to catch since we started 11 months ago at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. So it's been a long, tough and at times crazy season. Craig Lowndes second in the championship. Mark Winterbottom third in the championship. But this man's now joined Peter Brock and Lowndes as a 3-time Australian Touring Car or V8 Supercar champion. And that wraps up our race coverage for this season. Don't forget, V8 Extra next weekend. We'll cover up all of this and, of course, the gala dinner as well. Jamie Whincup, our champ. I'm Matt White. On behalf of Neil Crompton, Mark Scaife, the boys in pit lane, the hundreds of people who make this V8 Supercar coverage what you want it to be, we thank you for being with us this year. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've had a lot of fun. We'll see you again in 2012 when the V8 Supercars are back on 7.